cloud. And recording has started. And let me just bring up, let me share. And my flag, by the way, is remaining at half-staff until the 28th. As per the flag rules, which to honor Jimmy Carter. So,
Jackie, are you
yes.
aware that they couldn't get the flags in Washington, D.C. to not be at half-staff because they were frozen? So,
That's cool.
yep.
Yes, that is beautiful. Thank you. That made my day.
There's a Yiddish term for that. It's called obsolachus, and it means ironically, but obsolachus, they couldn't get the flag to full staff.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. With that, Ellis, do you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Someday. I noticed at the inauguration, there was not a pledge of allegiance. It was absent.
Isn't that interesting?
Also, Trump did not have his hand on the Bible. I think he was afraid if he touched it, it would start burning.
I heard I heard Musk gave the Nazi.
His wife was carrying 2 Bibles.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open up the start of the meeting, and then we can come back to some of the, and after some of our business, we can come back and talk about some of your experiences today and thoughts about this inauguration. First, I want to welcome everybody to the first Tri-Valley Democratic Club meeting of 2025. There's something you should know about this Monday. It's rumored that the third Monday of January is rumored to be the most depressing day of the year. And if you were like me today, I was very depressed. I left the mute on. I read the speeches. I did not watch him. I was appalled at his negativity. I was appalled that he just pardoned and commuted the sentences of all those rioters, including the ones who did the most violent attacks on police officers. It's despicable. He's despicable. I think it's beautiful that the flag was frozen there. I heard rumor that people that the real reason they had the inauguration inside is because they feared that the crowd sizes would be small because it was so cold outside. And we know how he acted the last time he had small crowd sizes. I mean, he talked about it for weeks. So, it's kind of karma. The flag frozen at half staff. I love that. Thank you for that story. Having to have the inauguration indoors, having the indoor parade of him walking around the military people. What a nonsensical stuff that is. I mean, what a show. What an absolute show. We need to watch what he does. We need to stay alert. And those are my opening statements. I guess I'll just open it up for anybody who wants to make a few comments about how they felt about this inauguration and how they feel today. I'll just open it up if anybody, and I'll start with the Honorable Trish Monroe.
I'm not honorable anymore.
We made it a thing in the Central Committee. Once you were honorable.
Oh, once you are, you always are. Okay,
you're always honorable.
I'll take it. So I paid utterly and completely no attention to what was going on at the national level. Instead, I was working on, so I don't know what he said. I don't really give a damn. Because the work here, I was heartened yesterday at the Livermore Indivisible for the conversations around how we protect immigrants, the work we have to do locally, and just how we buckle down and fight. The other thing that I think it was Timothy Snyder. No, it wasn't. It was shoot, the hopium guy said, you know, California, you better watch it because the oligarchs all live in Silicon Valley, and he's not wrong. And so my thoughts were not very much not in Washington. They were right here with the guy who was signaling, you know, who apparently did the Nazi salute twice and has, you know, has a whole lot of cars that a whole lot of people are buying. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Ron. You need to unmute. You're
Go ahead, Chair.
Unmute.
Karen.
Okay. I just had a thought after I spent much of the day avoiding the newscast because I didn't want to be nauseated again. You know, it seems like it might be time to bring back another statement. It's called America Held Hostage. And let's just hope it's for 2 years until the midterm elections.
The media didn't seem to play up the protesters at all. We just saw like a brief, you know, that they were parading and that was it. And I'm sure there were tons and tons of protests.
Well, it wasn't like the last time when the largest protest in American history was the Women's March, which was the day after the inauguration, the first Trump inauguration. And there were protests all over the country. And we had the one in Walnut Creek, which was the largest protest that Walnut Creek had ever seen. So all of that was going on. And I tend to think after 8 years after that, was sort of shell-shocked and realized he doesn't care about protests. In fact, we'd probably be pleasing them that we were protesting. It's sort of like you're whipping somebody and you feel better about it if they're screaming. So maybe we shouldn't be screaming.
But there was
it
stuff
might
going.
please them. But I had one thought. People keep on asking, why did this happen? And the real fact of the matter is that the greatest political motivator is anger. And he cashed in on that. And Biden did lots of things. Kamala did lots of things, but they didn't make people angry. And anger is what motivated at least the portion of the population that voted that way.
There was stuff going on in Walnut Creek yesterday with the women's movement. And I think
referred to it as a different march this year. There was one in Alameda was the closest one to us.
Right, that was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other comments? Ramona.
Yes, I have not watched the news at all today. Nothing. I turned on my escape music on my Sirius satellite radio. I spent the afternoon with a girlfriend in Castro Valley, and I am determined I'm determined to just keep going and to keep going. I made a commitment to keep going forward and to do as much good as I possibly can for somebody else. I'm going to continue tutoring my refugee immigrant students.
Oh.
Yes, and I am not, how can I say this? He's not going to get to me. I'm not afraid of him. And I think that every god-awful thing that he said he's going to do it. and I would not be at all surprised. I think we have to just be prepared. And I've heard the word resistance, and I feel like I am part of the resistance. And I just want to keep resisting every god awful thing that he's going to do. So, anyway.
Thank you.
I'd
Other comments, Joan?
like to add to that. I had a very brief conversation with Rob Bonta at Supervisor Hubbard's swearing in, and he noted that there were something like 25 states that have agreed that they're going to work to block whether it's climate change or border or immigrants or whatever, they're going to block inappropriate actions that he's going to take. So my thought is, I mean, like Jimmy Carter, when he lost, he went on to do even more than he did as president. So yes, we've lost, but we have to take advantage of the areas where he's going to fail and come back and fight even more and win, of course, in 2 years.
Good point. Thank you. And Jeff, I saw your hand up a minute ago. Did you have a comment?
Yes, I think in an inauguration speech, which contained, which was just full of very disturbing statements. The most disturbing statement he made that I found was the one that he made in reference to the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, when he said that God had saved him in order to make America great again. So there it was, right out front for everyone to hear, his Messiah complex coming to the fore. I found that extremely disturbing.
And I agree with you that statement, along with the statement of get the trans out of the schools. When he said that, I thought, what is going to happen in our school system? Are bullies going to run around and beat kids up because of their sexual preference?
Yes.
Or their identity? And they're going to beat them up now? And this gives free reign? I mean, that broke my heart. It's like picking on the person who cannot defend themselves. It's awful. Other comments?
I do.
Alan?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Renee, can we have Alan go first? And then we'll have you go.
Yes,
Thank
sorry.
you. No problem.
There's a couple things Democrats have to learn from what Trump did. And Ellis is right about the rage that people have and the reason people vote. And Trump is so beautiful at just bringing that out and making people mad and getting them behind him. And it's not necessarily him, it's the rage is the thing they're unhappy about. And there has to be a better way of communicating. Democrats have another problem. They don't lie. When Zuckerberg says they're going to do away with fact checking, well, Democrats don't lie. There's nothing that I can think of that Democrats use as a campaign thing that's just not true. Whereas when you look at what Trump says, everything he says is not true. The other thing that's overwhelming that we've got to be able to figure out how to fight is the money. And these dark money groups, thanks to Citizens United, thanks to Republicans on the Supreme Court, has just let loose the Kraken on what can be done in elections. And it in these swing states, we don't hear it in California, but in these swing states, the commercials that came out, how Kamala wants more illegal immigrants so she can send them to prison for sex change operations. And that was a campaign ad, and that was shown in the swing states. And it just blows my mind that people believe it, but we've got to be able somehow to fight the money on this.
Thank you. And before we go to Harris and Ellis, Renee had her hand up next.
I'm sorry, I'll make it brief. This is my
No.
first meeting, and I'm really happy to have this meeting tonight because I'm very distraught about all of this. The mention of what will happen to the trans kids, will they get beat up? That really resonated with me because I think about all of the Asian people during the beginning of the pandemic when Trump referred to it as the Chinese virus, and it didn't even, whether they were Chinese or not, if they looked Chinese to an ignorant person, they were getting the crap beat out of them. They were ending up in hospitals. So his vitriol is so dangerous. It goes so far beyond what he himself is going to do. But the rise in hate, and I am petrified. I am worried for everyone, our children, our immigrants. So I am here tonight because I am just at a loss. And I have a trans granddaughter who goes to school in Pleasanton, and it's been very difficult because her father is a MAGA. And I'm scared for her and everybody else. So thank you for letting me speak and be here.
Thank you for being here with us. Harris?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Harris Mojadidi. I'm a trustee on the Chabot Las Positas Community College District. I'm also Congressman Swalwell's alternate on the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, and I really just have two comments tonight. One, Renee, it's like you said everything I wanted to say as well. Renee, like, today's a really difficult day for us, and the two areas that I think we do have agency over is, I'm the child of refugees from Afghanistan, and over the past 3 years, we've resettled upwards of 90,000 refugees in the U.S. and the East Bay. Our East Bay has the largest concentration of these refugees that, again, were allies to our government, who are here under temporary legal status and who really desperately have supported our democracy. They share our values, and they're going to need support because already on day one, we've seen a lot of curtailment already and executive orders, and this will continue. But these are folks that are members of our community who are, again, especially vulnerable, and they need all the support they can. And the second, I'm so proud to serve on the Chabot Las Positas Community College District, and we are going to see an assault on education. We saw it last week when the Republicans passed that anti-transgender bill that will edit Title IX, and these educational titles that we have and the education code are so important. They are the way that we have equity in education. When we talk about the discrimination that not just transgender folks, not just undocumented folks, but women experience in higher education, we have to be diligent. And if the federal government is not going to do anything on the local level, we have to be diligent about this. And so again, like I introduced a resolution last month at our college district to really reaffirm our values in our district, which includes the Tri-Valley, and we need to continue to protect these what we can at the local level. Yeah, thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harris, so much. I think Ellis, did you still have a comment? You put your hand down, and then we're followed by Mark.
Sharon had something to say.
Another thing is Trump wasn't nice to Biden. He put him down in a speech, and and things that had Biden accomplished. And Biden seems like he's a mensch. He was,
and they booed Biden, they booed Obama, and they booed Mike Pence. Crazy. Mark?
Yeah, so it is what it is in the end, and we have a new president, and I don't love it at all either. However, I was kind of shocked in the speech, and maybe I missed it, but he didn't talk at all, I heard, about making America healthy again, RFK-isms. And I was kind of surprised on that, and that's fine. But if he goes for RFK and they want to make America healthy again, which is focused on diabetes and things like that, which is great, sugar and all that, that's great. I say let's leverage that. And so for an example, there are millions ill in the United States with long COVID. And so use their terminology. Don't go for the moonshot for long COVID, which they've already, no Republicans are supporting, but go to Warp Speed 2 and say, oh, Warp Speed 1 was so successful. We need a Warp Speed 2 to address all these millions of people with long COVID, and then a good portion of get myalgic encephalomyelitis, which has disabled my son for over 10 years. And we should use that to deal with chronic illness and get a lot more focus on that, including long COVID, which one estimated it costs the economy on the order of $1 trillion over years. And it affects military readiness, the economy, just even government people have it. So I hope we can help them make America healthy again, not by just throwing out the vaccines that they want to do or whatever, but also by leveraging things that we need them to do anyway.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to our agenda. First off, I do want to go ahead and open it up to new people here that have never joined. So I know, Renee, you mentioned this is your first time. You want to
This is
introduce?
my first.
Okay,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Renee Wilbur. I live in San Ramon. I volunteered on when Eric ran for president, I volunteered on his campaign, did a lot of phone calls. I'm a mother of two 34, 35-year-old daughters. I'm a grandmother. I am partially retired, work part-time as a literacy tutor, mostly for children that have autism. I'm teaching them to read, and I love what I do. It's my retirement career. So I worked in the legal field for 27 years and burned out on everybody fighting over stuff. So as a legal assistant, but yeah, I garden. I love to read. Probably see my books and my messy books in the back. Gosh, that's about all I can think of for now. I've been getting these emails for months and I keep saying, oh, I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm going to go to a meeting. And then I thought this would be a good time to start. But
It's a good time to start. Thank
Yeah.
you and welcome. It's a good time to renew our dues too, and
I have to learn about
then you
that.
get a vote in everything that we do, all the actions. So
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you so much for joining. And you don't have to become a member, by the way, to attend these meetings. You can attend.
Oh, I want to become a member. Also, I just want to say, I don't know if you've all heard of Blue Sky, but a lot of people are getting off of Twitter because of Musk. And we've gone to Blue Sky, and I was never a big social media person. I never wanted a big following. Never understood that. But Blue Sky is a very democratic, lot of intelligent people on there. And so my goal of being on Blue Sky is when there's messages that need to be said, or we need to call our local congressman, is to have a following so that I can push the message and promote the message to others. So I now, in 4 weeks, I've gotten a following of 10,000 people, which
Wow.
is a lot. So I'm working on it, getting a lot more. But if you have a message that you would like shared on Blue Sky on that platform, please let me know. I'm happy to share that. Any message that, everybody's there is blue. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. I
Yeah,
didn't know
sure.
about that. I think the Central Committee, I don't post too much on Twitter. We use strings, but I'll check into that one. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Other new folks tonight that have not joined our meeting. Anybody that wants to introduce themselves who has not joined our meeting before, raise your hand so I can see you. Deepa.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Deepa. I'm a Lafayette resident, and I actually got my start in politics in Alameda County, where I was born and raised. I actually helped start the Southern Alameda County Young Democrats some time ago. I'm a city attorney by day, Democratic party volunteer. I actually serve as the chair of the AEPI caucus for the California Democratic Party. I'm an aunt to 2 nieces who live in Dublin, and I have an adorable dog named Bailey who has the zoomies right now. So if you hear him, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. Anybody else? Anybody else want to introduce themselves? Now's the time. Okay. Let's do this. The next session, I'm going to talk about the ADEMs real quick. And actually, is Trish still on?
Trish is right here. I'm here.
Did you want me to go through the ADEM stuff, or did you want to as chair?
No, go for it.
Vice chair?
That's fine. Did you have, I think I sent, you want to put those slides up I put together yesterday? For the, did you get them? I can send them for you, or I can share them if you want. It'll take me a minute to pull them up.
Share them. Why don't you share them?
All right. I will do that. You'll let me share? I can.
Yeah, I'll make you co-host.
Cool. All right. Why don't you start talking and they'll appear shortly.
Okay. While Trish is preparing her slides, just to talk a little bit about, I've been sending out some information about the Assembly District elections. It's a special election that happens every odd year, every odd presidential, after the presidential election. It's a reorganization. So the Democratic Party gets together and they reorganize, they pick new leaders, they pick leadership. The caucus, you join your caucuses, and that process is happening. So these would be based on your assembly district delegates. I've been sending this information out for a while. Some of the dates have passed. The date to run in the assembly district delegate is already closed. The voting actually was extended due to the wildfires down in Southern California. So some things have been extended. Some of the dates that have passed, candidate window opened and is closed. The post-election virtual executive board meeting occurred in December. Electronic voting registration. So if you are a registered Democrat, you can register now to vote in the Assembly District election. And I believe that has been, the election has been extended to January 31st. And I'll let Trish go ahead and speak.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I am not. Wait, let me see if I can do this. Do that gonna work? Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So, what is ADEM and why should you care? This is basically what Jackie said. Candidates have registered. You can go here, take a look. ADEM candidates for Assembly District. Those are. I don't think statements are up yet. They weren't up as of yesterday. They're coming shortly. You can register here. And then let's see. There we go. Here's our dates. Ooh, there we go. So January 24th, as Jackie was saying, the electronic ballot request. And there's the extension. You can see where the meetings are, February 22nd, February 23rd. And in-person registration closes, I think, on the 23rd. Date to verify voter registration closes, and then the ADEM results. So the calendar is there. Jackie, do you want to talk a little bit about why it matters? I mean, I think you did already. I don't know. At this point, we maybe take questions.
Yeah. So what this gives Democrats a chance to participate. I mean, if you were an elected member like Eric Swalwell, you have a voice in the Central Committee. And then we have our representatives here in Assembly District 16. We have 4 elected members to the Central Committee. Trish Monroe is the vice chair for AD 16. Also part of that will be associate members, and those associate members are going to be picked soon. And we'll talk about that caucus coming up here in a little bit. But other than that, you could also become an assembly district delegate. And it's open to anybody that's a Democrat. Unfortunately, if you haven't registered yet, the date is now closed. So you would have had to have registered by, I forget what the deadline was.
I didn't put those dates down. It was you had to have, January 9th it closed, January 16th was when statements had to be in. So, yeah,
So
but voting is happening now. Or registration for voting is happening right now. And it is your chance to pick those people who will determine platforms, or you have a voice for the platforms to have a voice for where you think California Dems should be going. Now, granted, there's thousands of people there. Nevertheless, so this does not replace participating locally. But, and by the way, I'm sorry, with this up, I can't figure out how to turn my, get my face shown, but whatever.
Okay, that's okay.
It doesn't matter. It'll, eventually they'll go away and I'll come back on. Anyway, this matters in terms of finding people who will speak for what platform we want, what kinds of endorsements we want, and how we think about where our state is going. So,
and
yeah.
also party rules, party, just things like, what should the code of conduct be? I'm sure we're going to be going through that in the Central Committee as well. But so it really is the reorganization of the Democratic Party. So that's happening in our Central Committee with new committees coming in this year. It will happen with new associates being assigned to the Central Committee, and then these delegates being selected. And then from there, the party will vote on party leadership and other things. I did go ahead and paste the link to the website, the ADEM election website. There's information, more information about this process, all the deadlines that are being shared here, as well as you can sign up to vote. So please, if you haven't done that, go ahead and sign up to vote. Anybody that is a registered Democrat can vote in the ADEM election, and it will be done both electronically as well as in person. And I'm not sure exactly where the in-person voting is going to be for AD 16. I'd have to look and see if that's on. Yes, Ellis, did you want to add something, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to add something. First of all, with the vote, there's a gotcha in it. And the way it works is you click on the link that Jackie has there, and you go to a page and you fill out your contact information, including your email. Then they send you a 5-digit code in email instantly as soon as you submit your form. You put in your 5-digit code and it says that you registered. Only in that email that you got the 5-digit code, hidden at the bottom is your ID number for the Democratic Party. Very easy to miss. Very easy to miss. You're going to need that ID number in order to vote. So those of you who are waiting to get a notice from the Democratic Party, when you get that notice, you're going to have to go back to that email where you got the key number and scroll to the bottom and find that number. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is the importance of the ADEM position in the party. The candidates who are endorsed by the Democratic Party, their names wind up on door hangers, and they almost automatically get half the Democratic vote just by having their names there, because people don't know who the down ticket candidates are or city council or school board or any of the other possible positions. And what happens is there's first a pre-primary endorsement caucus to decide who the party is going to endorse for state senator and assembly. But further down the ticket, those endorsements are voted on sometimes by central committees. And sometimes the whole thing goes to the convention. In past years, Marisol Rubio and Steve Glazer had a situation where neither one of them had the party's endorsement, and the delegates from that particular senatorial district voted on who got the endorsement. Turns out nobody did, but whoever gets the name on the door hanger has a real edge up. And that's why it's important, aside from the other reasons that Jackie gave, that this can make a difference in election where a few dozen people can make a difference as to who gets on the door hanger and who eventually gets to go to Sacramento or possibly Washington, D.C. There was a similar situation with Eric Swalwell and Ellen Corbett when he ran against her. And we had votes right at the convention to do that. And it was only people who lived in their districts who were allowed to vote at that convention. And eventually, I think neither one of them got the endorsement. But Eric held off Ellen Corbett and eventually won. Anyway, that's what I have to say. Somebody who's been to more than a few of these conventions.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I'm just looking for hands. Any other hands? With that, I do note that we do have some folks here that are running for delegate. And so I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak and introduce themselves to you. There will be candidate statements posted out there, but if there's somebody like me, I messed up and I missed the deadline by an hour. I was like, oh my God, it's noon and I can't post this. So you won't see my statement out there. Oops. Anyways, I'm going to start. My name's Jackie Taryn Rankle, and I'm the president of this Democratic club. I've been president of this club for the past 2 years. And under my leadership, we received Club of the Year award with the Alameda County Central Committee. And I was very honored to receive that at last year's Unity Dinner. We've also were acknowledged because of some of the work we did during COVID and having to, due to the renovations going on at the hall, do almost everything online. And we got acknowledged for that of transitioning to a fully online meeting in the midst of COVID. I'm also the chair of the Tri-Valley United Democratic Campaign. So I opened up your local Democratic campaign office. We did the fundraising along with Richard and Ellis and Sharon, and Ron helped us with getting fundraising done for the UDC, and we were able to raise thousands of dollars along with the support of folks like the IBEW and Eric Swalwell's Remedy PAC and John of our club donated a top level donation as well. So we were very, very lucky to raise the money and be able to open up a beautiful campaign office this year. I've also sat on several committees within the Central Committee. This is going on my 5th year being at the Central Committee, starting as a club rep, going to an associate member, and now finally an alternate for the for Jan Park, who is the head of the Labor Council, or president of the Labor Council. So I would be honored if I could receive your vote as members. I know there is a slate out there with RBK sent a slate of all folks that she's supporting. That's wonderful. That's great. They have the support, but that's a full slate. And I think you guys can vote independently. You don't have to vote everybody on a slate. So, you know, vote for experience, vote for people who do the hard work for you. And I ask for your support. I also see Charlie Jones on the call, and I know you are running for delegate as well. So I'm going to let you start.
Right. Hello, my name is Charlie Jones. I am a teacher and educator of 9 years, and thanks to your support and work, I am also Pleasanton's first queer elected in 130 years for Pleasanton's school board now for Area 4. So I really appreciate your support and help for that. I'm running for ADEMs as well because I've done a lot of work since 2008 with the Democratic Party. Obama was the first campaign I ever supported and walked on. I turned 18 that year, and that was the first election I endorsed and knocked doors for. I also fought hard against Prop 8, so that was quite an experience to see Pleasanton go from being a more supportive of Prop 8 to now electing somebody who openly was the opposite of that. So I also serve in AC Dems. I've been an associate and for the county level, and I'm also now an alternate as well for the Dem coordinator of the area, Victor Costa. And I've helped support many other races. I've supported races out in Tracy where I've canvassed and knocked for Josh Harder. I've also done ones for their new mayor, Dan Ariola. I've also, who is my partner, but I've been very active within the Democratic Party, ensuring that Dems win in areas that are sometimes difficult for us. My seat was a purple seat, and we got a progressive candidate elected in a pretty rough year for us in Pleasanton. I was one of the few that was running as a pro-openly labor candidate, and I continue to do so. So I would really love to have your support to keep pushing these progressive values of environmental justice, economic justice, the rights of our like queer and immigrant students who I teach. 40% of my school is immigrants that I teach at. We need to do better, and I want to push at the state level to make sure that we defend those who are most vulnerable. Thank you. Oh, my number is number 9, by the way, on the ballot, since they finally published the numbers, I believe. So again, Charles Jones, number 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. And Kyoko was going to speak on behalf of a candidate. And I'm sorry, Kyoko, I'll let you go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm looking for the.
Before that, we actually have Manav Patel here as well, who was here like in person.
Let's have Manav. Kyoko, can we have Manav speak first then? And then we'll have you speak for your candidate. Manav, do you want to unmute yourself, sir? There we go.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm still at work. But I just want to introduce myself. My name is Manav. I'm a resident of Livermore. And I'm one of the Gen Z candidates running for the Democratic delegates. Obviously I haven't been involved as the Democratic Party for too long. I actually started in right when I was out of high school. I was doing a lot of stuff during the pandemic. During that time, I was also I served as part of a subcommittee in the city of Livermore to overlook equity and inclusion practices within our city and look to adopt 10 different policies that can help our city improve in the ways of equity and inclusion. And our work on the subcommittee actually helped earn the City of Livermore an All-American Award. And I was able to work with, or at the time, Councilwoman Monroe. And I was just like a young college kid just wanting to make a difference. And now I've graduated college. I'm actually working to become a teacher. I'm teaching actually at a local tutoring center in Dublin. called Prepays Academy, which is a local institute to help kids improve their reading and math skills. And a lot of my students are immigrants, and we work a lot on English language development. And actually today we just had a talk on ways that we can support our students, especially around immigrant rights. And so that was actually a very important talk that we did today. But as a Democrat, I've helped support Democrats all across, mainly the Bay Area. In this past election, I helped elect Raj Salwan, who became the first Indian mayor in Fremont, and he also is one of the and he's also a very important person in the city of Fremont. And I also helped elect Stephen Dunbar in Livermore City Council. And I'm looking forward to basically just help the Democratic Party. And this is like my first time running, and I want to be able to basically listen to you guys and what you guys value as Democrats, and be able to bring it to the party, and so we can have a strong voice. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you so much and welcome. Thank you. And please come back to our club. We like young people. We want more young people. Come back to the club. We do have another candidate that is here in person. And I apologize for missing that. Deepa Sharma, do you want to speak next?
Sure. Thank you so much. So everybody, my name is Deepa, and I'm a lifelong East Bay resident. And as I mentioned earlier, I got my start in politics in Alameda County as a youth organizer, actually for the Ohlone area UDC. And I eventually settled down in Lafayette, joining the rest of my family to live in 8016. So by day, I'm a city attorney where I get to advise cities in California on some of the most pressing issues of our time. I've written sanctuary city ordinances. I've written tenant protection laws that have stood up in court. But I would say that my biggest impact comes from not just what I do on the legal side, but as a fervent Democratic Party volunteer, like so many of you here on this call. I'm currently an AD16 delegate. I'm running for re-election, and I would be honored to have your vote. So as your AD16 delegate, I actually hold several leadership positions in service to this community, and I'm most proud of serving as the state chair of the API caucus for the past 4 years, and as a co-chair of the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee for our state party. I organize on the state, local, and national levels. And in these past 4 years, in these last few years in particular, I've been a caretaker to my elderly parents. So my activism has focused on issues such as protecting social safety net programs like Social Security and Medicare, and curtailing the rollback of our treasured civil rights. As the API caucus chair this past cycle, I spearheaded national mobilizations in partnership with the DCCC to flip 2 seats in Orange County from red to blue to elect Dave Min and Derek Tran, because I knew that if we could get the API community out to vote in droves, we could win, and we ended up doing that. And I'm so proud of our caucus for leading the way. Harris Mojadidi is our caucus officer. Looking forward to seeing many of the faces that are in here in our next caucus meeting, actually. So I will just say that today is obviously a really difficult day for us as we face a second Trump term. And I know that we all worked really hard for a different outcome. I personally served as a DNC delegate this past convention. I was proud to mobilize for Vice President Harris, and I got to spearhead a weekend of action in Nevada for the first weekend of early voting. And I was proud to serve as an elector in the Electoral College for Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, even though we should definitely abolish the Electoral College. These next 2 years are going to be so important for our party. where we will be considering our next governor, our constitutional offices, and of course, all eyes will be on California. And that means that we as Democratic volunteers have an important role to play to protect our most vulnerable communities and to chart our course back to national power. And that means making our party more accessible to everyday people. So it's not just a place welcoming of the rich and powerful, but also a place where our most directly impacted are listened to. It means valuing people who build our party, and it means supporting volunteer organizers and supporting our young people like Manav Patel, who just spoke before me. I'll say I have the experience to serve this community as your delegate, and I pledge to work with each and every one of you because we need all hands on deck to build our party and make sure our core constituencies are seen and heard by this party. And I just want to thank you, Tri-Valley Democrats. I'm one of your newest members for listening, and I hope to earn your vote. Once again, my name is Deepa Sharma. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else in the room that is running for delegate who wishes to speak?
I'd like to speak for Richard Adler. I know that Kyoko is going to speak for somebody.
Yeah, let's have you do that after Kyoko if we could. Since she's been waiting, let's see if there's anybody else in the room though first. Anybody in the room? Hearing none, let's turn to Kyoko and then followed by Ellis.
I'm speaking for Isabel Gomez. I actually asked her to run for this. I met Isabel back in 2019 when we were actually organizing Tri-Valley Women's March. She is an immigrant, just like myself, but she became a US citizen back in 2010. I met her again last year. At that time, I was organizing CA13 canvassing in Patterson, Newman area. So I asked her if she can join me, and she said, yes, I can use my Spanish. I actually recruited 2 people to go to CA13. As you may know, it's 50% Spanish speakers in that district, and it's crucial to have the bilingual population to be among us and bridge our idea and philosophy to them. And we need to be there for them, but at the same time, we cannot really help that population without speaking Spanish. And that's why when Evan asked me, who should be running for the ADEM, I said, I'm gonna ask Isabel. And she didn't say yes, but she actually went to the website and looked into it. And she said, yes, I can do this. And I want to serve for not only Tri-Valley, but the Central Valley's Spanish-speaking population. And I think it's literally important, beyond important. It's imperative to have bilingual speakers who has an experience of being there, knocking on doors, talking to the regular people. And it was really hard even for me, because some people were just saying, well, it doesn't really matter, Dem or Republicans, my life is not going to change. That sentiment literally swept through the entire country, and we lost. So to change that, we need a good communicator, especially in California, Spanish speakers. And that's why I recommend you to vote, and please talk about her. We can just vote for the assembly members slate, but it's not going to change anything, and we need change today. And that's why I would love to see Manav get elected, Shari get elected, and Isabel get elected. And of course, Jackie was once really a change person. Now she is embedded to the Tri-Valley Dems and AC Dems. But I really would like to have the people from Alameda County, Tri-Valley, to be elected, because currently we have none of them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyoko. And again, if you missed her opening, she was speaking on behalf of Isabel Gomez. Thank you, Kyoko. And Ellis is going to speak on behalf of our club member, Richard Adler.
Thank you, Jackie. I've known Richard for about 10 years now. We have coffee with him every Friday. Now it's over Zoom. It used to be at Panera's. But Rick has been involved in politics since he was in grade school. And eventually, after he graduated college, he worked for Pete McCloskey. You may know that he was an extinct person in that he was a liberal Republican. But he worked for McCloskey, and McCloskey taught him about the value of public service. And that bug bit Rick. Rick became an insurance guy and worked in an insurance company for 30 years and developed leadership. He took that leadership with him and was a Boy Scout leader and taught Boy Scouts to be prepared. For the last few years, Rick has worked on a number of campaigns for various Democrats in Contra Costa County, in San Ramon in particular. He's on the Central Committee, and he's the co-president of the San Ramon Valley Dems, which is up here in Danville, San Ramon, Alamo, and that area. He's been an ADEM for quite a while, and is one of the stalwarts of the Democratic Party in Contra Costa County. And I hope you will vote for him. But I'd also like to endorse Jackie and Charlie Jones. And I haven't got the list there, but I know about half the people on the list. You get 7 votes for men and 7 votes for women, except the men aren't called men. They're called not women. Anyway, that's the whole spiel. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. And speaking of the vice president of the San Ramon Valley Club, Brody, who was past member of our club as well, Brody Hill is also running for delegate. So I'll throw that out there. And she is also
and I certainly would endorse her too.
Intermittently in and out. Is there anybody else that would like to either speak on behalf of somebody or speak on behalf of themselves running for delegate? Okay. Again, I sent all this information out to the club. I will send it out again tomorrow as a reminder, along with this video. So if folks want to hear some of the introductions from some of the candidates, we'll have it out there on our YouTube channel. Let's see. Moving on, I'm just going to grab my agenda here. The new Central Committee just started. Again, it goes hand in hand with the presidential years. Every 4 years, we vote in last March, you voted for new committee members. And those committee members took their oath and were sworn in last Monday or Wednesday, I believe it was. They were sworn in. So those members here in Assembly District 16, Trish Monroe, Cheryl Cook Callio, Jan Park, and Seema Badar. So those are our elected members in Assembly District 16, in Assembly District 20. So if you live in parts of Dublin, our new assembly members, and all this is available on the ACDEM's website. if I can get into acdems.org. So acdems.org is the website, and you will find all of our members, all of our elected members, and then their alternates. So those folks were sworn in this month. Coming up will be the caucus meetings for the various both the elected officials, their alternates. They will caucus coming up, and we'll be picking new associate members. So let me share that information. And Trish, do you want to speak to this while I dig up the actual email where they send information to?
I did not mean to raise my hand. I meant to unmute.
Oh.
So yeah, so there's four, let me, for anyone who doesn't know, the way it works is we're part of AD 16. Most of us are part of AD 16. Some of us, as Jackie said, are part of AD 20, so Assembly District. The part that's in Alameda County has 4 representatives, as Jackie said. I was elected, I think everyone else stepped back, vice chair. And then each of us has an alternate that we pick. Mine is Marie Gilmore. Jackie is the alternate for Yon Park. Olivia San Juan is who's on East Bay Parks, Regional Parks, is the alternate for Cheryl, and Iman Tal, I believe, is the alternate for Seema Badar. There are every ex officio.
Oh, sorry,
Every ex officio member, so that's from Eric Swalwell, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, and so on, has an alternate who also votes. Those are part of the caucus. In general, the electeds are part of the caucus. And so it's about 15 people, including the Tri-Valley Club rep, who I believe is Valerie Arkin. Is that correct? Did I get that right, Jackie? Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Valerie.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we talked. We also get 4 associate members. Now, yes, ADEMs is important, but there's 2,000 or more people who go to the ADEM meeting. If you want to get involved, and you should at the county level, then being an associate is one way to do it. So if you're interested in that, contact me, and I will put my email in the chat, and just let me know why you want to do that. Each one of us electeds will choose our own associate, but we will discuss together, actually this Thursday, how to, sort of what our general values and goals for the Tri-Valley are. Alameda County matters, but this is my chip for being in the Tri-Valley and Alameda County, because frequently my experience has been that people don't necessarily acknowledge the Tri-Valley as part of Alameda County. So certainly one of my goals is to ensure that we have a voice that both speaks to the county, but also speaks to our individual concerns out here. So those general concerns will be part of what we'll be discussing on Thursday. One other thing I would say is that in addition, I want to build that caucus out. This may be the place to do it. It may be, sort of a parallel group as well. That would also be something we'd be discussing, just so that we can, again, be as strong as we can for Democrats in the Tri-Valley, particularly in Alameda County. So I think that's my spiel. Any questions, or Jackie, you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I want to add a couple of things for the 20th. If you happen to live in the 20th in that slice in Dublin or up in the Castro Valley Canyon area, the 20th, Karina Lopez is the vice chair. Also, Aisha Knowles, and Aisha Knowles was elected to vice chair of the committee itself. So Igor was re-elected, Igor Trigub, as chair, thank goodness. And then Aisha Knowles is the vice chair. Andy Kelly is the corresponding secretary, and Annie Karuga is the recording secretary. And then, as we said, as Trish mentioned, then we have our caucuses. So for Assembly District 16, we mentioned them. We mentioned the 20th, Aisha Knowles, Melissa Hernandez is on the 20th, Julie Roche, Victor Aguiar, Alyssa Marquez, Scott Sakahara, and Dolly Adams. So those are the electeds or ex officios that are a part of the 20th. I pasted in the caucus information if you happen to be in the 20th and want to be an associate, contact Karina Lopez. If you want to caucus, if you live in Assembly District 16, which is the bulk of us, which is Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, San Ramon, most of us live in Assembly District 16 on up through Contra Costa County. Those, if you want to be an associate, send to Patricia Monroe. So the email is pasted in the comments there. And, you know, here's another way to get involved and be a part of the official delegation.
Jackie, I realize there's one piece I missed out of there, which is that you can't vote unless you're elected, but you can and need to serve on committees. And those include things like setting the legislative agenda, resolutions, canvassing in general, making comments on endorsement, even if you can't vote on the endorsements. So it is an excellent place to really get involved and build your understanding. And as Jackie spoke, her experience came right through alternates, associates, club rep, and so on. So, yeah.
Thank you. Lots of ways to get involved. Any other questions or comments regarding the caucus or the central committee? As Trish mentioned last year, a couple months ago, we voted for our club rep already for this next session, and that will be the Honorable Valerie Arkin. So we're excited to have an ex-council member as a part of our representing our club. She'll do great. Okay, let's see. I guess we're going to go ahead and go into some club regular business, and I'm going to open it up to our treasurer, Alan Nakashir, to fill us in of how we look so far. We're just starting to collect dues for this year, but he's going to fill us in and where we're at.
Okay. As I always say when we start is pay your dues. But for this month, we had an income of $630. Our expenses were $2206 for the credit card fees. We had a $400 expense for the room rental for our holiday party, bringing our total expenses to $422.06. Our net for the month was $207.94 profit. We started with $2,344.27, and our ending balance is $2,552.21. What's interesting is our balance from the end of last year and the year before, the ending balance is within like $50 for each year. It's just interesting that we always wind up with the same amount of money in January. One other thing we're missing is we were supposed to pay our insurance, which I've tried to pay 3 times, and for some reason the Democratic Party will not accept it or just won't process it. So I have to work on that, but that's $600 we have outgoing. And I'd like to apologize to Kyoko for not picking up her check at the Dropbox. It took me longer than it should have. I apologize. Any questions? Oh, our membership
yes.
right now,
One,
we have 55 members.
one thing I was going to say about the insurance, Alan, is I think I know what's happening with that because the UDC, Tri-Valley UDC, sent a check to Unique at the party, and they wrote it on a closed account, so the check bounced. So we had to send. I contacted our treasurer. Long story short, they had to fire a guy for not doing too great a work. And so things were delayed, and he ended up sending another check. So I think Unique is confusing the Tri-Valley DIMS with the Tri-Valley UDC.
Yeah, I
I'm
explained
gonna
that
have
to
to get
her
on the phone.
I guess I'm gonna have to call her again and see if I can get this figured out. Because I paid it online once, I paid it with the check once, I paid it over the phone once, and none of those have ever been charged against the account. So,
Oh, goodness. Well, you
and
know,
this has been going on for about 5 months.
We're not having any in-person things,
So
but
it doesn't matter, but it would just be important. We really, the club needs insurance.
right. I'll follow up with Unique as well. And Ellis, do you have a question for Alan?
Well, it's a question for you, Jackie, and Alan. When we had the party at the UDC in December, Jackie laid out a certain amount of money. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think it's an order of how much?
You're never going to find out. It was my gift to the club.
Well, I think that the club ought to reimburse you.
It's okay. I don't.
If you're not going to tell us, then we can't.
I don't want the FBI agents knocking on my door saying I did something wrong and hauling me off.
No, I think that the club ought to be some way to either pay you or pay the UDC, and but for you to lay it out out of pocket, several $100s, just seems unfair. And we do have some money in the treasury, and aside from the insurance, which you just discussed, and our website, we haven't got a hell of a lot of expenses. So anyway, if you're not going to reveal that, then at least let us applaud you for
I don't think I have
treating
my
us.
receipts anymore anyways. I kind of tossed all that stuff. By the way, if you did write a check to the UDC, I noticed that those checks just got deposited. Again, we had some problem, I guess, with an employee at the our new treasurer's office, and all my checks were shoved in a drawer. So I'd written a check to the UDC for $800 from all the cash that we took in, and that sat around for months. So I apologize. We're straightening that up. They're addressing that. They've let that person go. So thank you. Let's see. Alan, one other thing about the Treasury real quick is we did have a request to put PayPal, and I took a look at the app that we're using, the Square, and there is a way to do it, but you have to set up a third-party app. So at some point, maybe we could see if we can get PayPal. I looked at integrating everything into the website, and we can do it, but it's $5 more a month, every single month. They charge you for that
Yeah, I don't know
privilege.
if that's worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it, but maybe we can add PayPal by loading this, what do they call it? Zapier allows you to integrate it. So I'll work on that with you maybe this month.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else with the Treasury? Elections. Next month, we are holding elections for club officers of this club. We formed a committee to reach out and try to recruit folks to run for positions. We have not had any success in getting somebody to run for the president. So far, it's we don't have anybody that signed up to run. I may throw my hat in the ring again if nobody does, but I want to open it up to folks. If you are interested in club leadership, being the president, we do have 2 folks that have submitted interest in the vice president. Both our previous president, Ronald, has shared an interest in running for vice president, and also Seema Badar, who is not here this evening, but I guess she spoke to you, Ellis, and I spoke to her at the Central Committee, and she's throwing in her hat to run for vice president.
I didn't speak to her.
Oh, well,
I don't remember speaking to her.
Well, she's shared an interest in running, so, and anybody else who wants to run for, we have Alan, who is running for treasurer again. Yeah. And Ellis, who is running for secretary. So that's who we have so far. We will take names next month. I mean, you can submit the names now. If submit an interest, we will add anybody who is, you have to be a club member though, you have to pay your dues. And then we will take any nominations from the floor as well next month. And we will vote for the president first. And I'm doing this kind of following the way the Central Committee did it this way. You will do the president first, followed by the vice president. And you can submit your name right up until that vote to run. And then the secretary. And then the rest of the positions are assigned by the executive committee, whoever the new group is. So we do have folks that shared interests in being in the environmental committee, helping with website support and communications. We have interests in club membership and helping expand the membership. So we have a member chair. We've had one in the past. So, you know, if you were interested in club leadership, please submit your name. We will have that election next month, and that is good for a 2-year cycle. Does anybody have any questions about the club elections? Comments, questions, concerns? Anyone?
So I just wanted to ask, do we, is there like an email we reach out to about that, or how do we reach out to submit a name or for further information on that?
Okay, well, you want to send this to TVDEM's media@gmail.com. And this is on our website as well.
Oh, okay, yes, okay, thank you.
So if you would just submit that goes to me, and we will add your name. Or if you want to nominate somebody, you can nominate somebody. Say, hey, I want Ellis to run for president. And you can throw out a name, but that person has to accept that nomination. So you might want to talk to him before you nominate somebody. We had that on the floor of the Central Committee. It was real fun last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure the person that you're nominating wants to run.
Understood.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. New business. Anyone? Is there any new?
With the secretary's report.
Oh, thank you, Ellis. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I've just been looking at it. The last meeting we had was November 19th, but November 18th, right after the election. We had an election recap. We talked about opportunities for involvement by club members. Jackie appointed a nominating committee for electing new club officers, as she just discussed. And we decided to push back the election, which is normally in January, to February, and we voted on that. We spoke a little bit about planning the Christmas party, and then there was the political director's report, which I gave. And at that time, I pointed out that the Central Committee meeting that occurred just prior to that, there was bashing of Eric Swalwell, and that the club ought to stand up for him. And I wrote a letter that we plan on sending out to the press and to other members of the club. And the club hasn't heard this yet, and I would like a vote on it. And here's the letter. The Tri-Valley.
Leslie, let me stop you for just a half second. We did already vote on it, so we did vote for the letter. We just haven't said the final letter, so that we don't need to take a vote on that. But go ahead and read.
Not according. I'm sorry to disagree with you, Jackie. According to the minutes, we never voted on it.
We did. I watched the video today. I have it on my Fathom, the actual video. I can share the link. But
anyway, the club members haven't heard the letter. So if you will, I would like to read the letter to the press and to club members. It's only one page. It'll be pretty quick. The Tri-Valley Democratic Club is very concerned with comments by members of the Alameda Democratic Party Central Committee at their November 13th meeting. Committee members blamed Congressman Eric Swalwell for the recall of DA Pamela Price. They spoke about how hard they worked to fight the recall of the DA, blaming the congressman for backing the recall. The Tri-Valley Democratic Club did endorse Pamela Price, DA, and we wanted her to be successful. The Central Committee was not unanimous regarding the support of the DA over the past years, and as a candidate, she did not obtain the endorsement of the committee. Only later did they pass a resolution against the recall. It was the DA's own insinuations that started this fight with the congressman. Those committee members did not place any responsibility for the recall on the actions or inactions of DA Price. Instead, they blamed the congressman for pointing out the shortcomings of the DA, including not explaining, reducing, and dropping charges against violent criminals. Instead of looking at why voters recalled the DA, they claimed the congressman supported Trump's agenda and worse. The committee did also clarify that the county party Central Committee do not endorse congressional candidates. That is done by the party at the party state level. The Tri-Valley Democratic Club points out that Eric Swalwell is a loyal Democrat, has been a club member since he was a teenager when he served as club secretary, and in 2008 was chair of our PAC, the Tri-Valley United Democratic Campaign. His advocacy in Congress opposing gun violence and leading both impeachment efforts have led to death threats to the whole Swalwell family. During the 2024 election cycle, Swalwell worked tirelessly on contentious congressional races, in addition to making substantial donations to local party PACs to help pay for campaign offices in Hayward, Fremont, and Dublin. The Tri-Valley Democratic Club sees Eric Swalwell not just as a local champion, but as a national hero, battling Republicans in Congress on our behalf. We are very proud to call him one of our own. We suggest the Alameda County Central Committee find a suitable candidate for DA to present to the Board of Supervisors. And I'd like to say that the club voted on this. Does anybody have any objection to that? To sending this letter to the press?
No. It matches what we talked about
I beg to differ. I object. May I speak?
Yeah,
Hands up.
also Charlie had his hand up too.
Yeah, he
I
was first. Yes.
I
Oh,
apologize.
no, my hand's up for new business because I thought we moved on to that since we were doing this.
Okay, we'll save you for that. Back to Trish.
I agree that the central committee that made the statements that the letter responds to was totally out of order, and my comments at that meeting were fairly strong. I think it was that meeting in responding to those. However, the central committee has been completely reconstituted at this point. Of the people who there are, it is complete. There are very few of those people remaining on the central committee. And so as somebody who would be receiving this, it feels like it's, look, I don't know how to take it back. I understand that you want to send it, but you're sending it to a group of people who are no longer, most of whom are no longer there. I don't know what to do about that, but can we like figure out a way to do the letter that says something like, that was bad, but we look forward to people doing different things, maybe? Anyway, those would be my comments.
That is true. I mean, we voted on this in November, so the committee was still in place. And we voted to send it originally to the press. And then there was comments, because I had to go back and listen to this on the Fathom today. And we went back and the comment was made, shouldn't we send directly to the people who wrote this? And that's how the central committee came into mind. But by the time it got written and updated, I had edits that I wanted. So it delayed it, I'm afraid. Maybe we could send it directly to Igor, since, he will understand where we're coming from.
Well, I don't believe that Igor favored what they were saying. He just kind of put up with it and kind of said, "You finished," and let it go. He certainly didn't agree with it or anything like that.
We could post it on our website too.
But maybe we should just drop this for now. It's a new central committee. And one of the things that we do, pardon me, ladies, we get into pissing contests. Nobody wins. Everybody gets wet. Don't sit in the first row. Maybe we can call off this pissing contest. Okay, I'd like to withdraw the motion to send this letter.
I'll second it.
Yeah. So let's let it go.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Well, the ayes have it. But we had good intentions, Ellis. It was a great letter.
Well,
Nice letter.
You know what happens? You write it at one moment in time, and then now it's 2 months later. I wrote this on November 29th. So
that's your birthday.
It was my birthday. But anyway,
things are different now.
Things have changed, and the whole political world has changed today.
Aye.
And yeah, right. I is the right term for that. But what we're going to have to do is look for the right opportunities. And as political director, that's my only message. I was watching MSNBC probably too much today, Rachel being on, and it's basically look for the spots where we can do some good, make a difference, and we don't know where those spots are yet. It hasn't been 12 hours yet.
Oh goodness. With that, let's go ahead and open it up to new business. Charlie?
All right.
Maybe
Hello.
when we do find spots, maybe the club can broadcast them and other people can get on board.
Okay. Charlie just posted something.
Oh, yeah. So let me explain. So we, as a school board, are currently looking at let me rephrase this. There were suggested cuts to our district that were recommended to us by a committee group that was formed by the prior board and by the district office and going through the community. That email that you see there allows you to email every single member of our school board that is currently there. I am very concerned about the list of cuts that they are bringing up. The big ones that are getting most people's attention is the recommendation from the district to cut all K-5 music programs, and then also to get rid of the 0 period. They call it AD, but basically like 0 7th period at the high schools, which would be incredibly detrimental, especially for our students who maybe, who aren't 4.0, who have to take makeup classes or other things. They'll cut them out of the arts and many other courses. But because those are two very big ones, a lot of other ones are flying under the radar. They are suggesting that we cut our parent liaisons, which are the people who call home to people who don't speak English as a first language to help with their students or their children, who they reach out to our most at-risk groups. For example, our African-American students, one of those liaisons reached out to every family in the district for contact. Like, those positions are up for being cut. They want to cut what they call educational operations services, which is code for the teachers at Village High School, the alternative high school, and PV, our Pleasanton Virtual Academy, which actually makes our district money. But Village is the site where a lot of our Black and trans students have ended up transitioning to, because they feel safest there, because they're not bullied there. And so they're looking at cutting a lot of things that they're looking at cutting directly impact our most at-risk and vulnerable populations, and typically the populations that aren't able to show up at board meetings or go to these. Our next budget workshop is Thursday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. But if you're unable to make that, the district office, you can email the board there and just be like, be better about the considerations that we're doing of what may be potentially cut. I just wanted to let you guys know that that was something that was coming up right now.
Charlie, is this only affecting Pleasanton? Is this because of the tax measure that failed? Is that why they're looking at cuts there?
Oh no, this is every single school district. Hayward Unified, where I teach, is dealing with a $55 million deficit potentially. Livermore is dealing with budget cuts. Dublin is dealing with budget cuts, but the one that, because we're TVDEMs, the one that I can reach out or bring up to you is the one for Pleasanton, because that's the one I know best right now.
Does the county know what's happening?
Sharon, you're muted.
No, you're not muted. The county knows what's happening. They're the ones telling us that we need to cut about $5.5 million and potentially up to $8 million.
Okay. I think it's atrocious to cut music. Absolutely atrocious to cut the music programs. Oh my God.
So I tried to get it removed early from the list last Thursday, but I was blocked. So I'm trying again this Thursday. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, and just if you want to email the board.
Can you get some parents to write to the state education department and tell them what's going on and how they're concerned?
The problem is because of local control, the state level doesn't really have authority over that. I wish they gave us more money, but they don't have control over the direct amount of cuts or what we're looking at.
Charlie, have you talked to the PFAG people?
Pardon me?
I haven't. I need a new contact number for them, because I think they changed leadership or something, because I haven't had any luck.
Okay, I will connect to you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Who is that, Kyoko, you're saying to contact whom?
PFRAG. So those are the liaison for the mental issue for the LGBTQ community.
Oh my God, that's shocking. Here we go. Here we go.
What
Okay.
we're likely to see with the schools is because the school districts get money from the state has just experienced huge numbers of schools in LA burned to the ground. And those schools got to be rebuilt also. So we're seeing a huge hole in the educational budget that hasn't even been calculated yet. But those schools seem to be as gone as the houses that we see on television.
Any other comments or questions for Charlie?
My hand was up. So, what I'm wondering is, Charlie, have you talked to Cheryl Cook-Callio? If you're getting this from the county, wouldn't she, I mean, I don't know whether you've talked to her or not, but she'd be the person.
Yeah, because it's like the issue is not like so. The county just says that we need to cut because schools, unlike other state governments, aren't allowed to have a deficit. So the county just we just got our report back from the ACOE, the county education one, and like the county board approved our qualified statement to say yes, we will not take you over, but in order to do so, we have to make that amount of cuts. So they're Cheryl and everyone's aware of what's going on. Now it's just we need the community to be very clear about what they will and won't tolerate us removing to get to that number.
So the other question is that because this is city by city, what is the role of people who don't live in Pleasanton?
I would say the role for people who don't live in Pleasanton would still be if you know people in the city to reach out to them and get them to email us, to call, or to go, because
So better to keep it in Pleasanton, but we can use our talk to those we know.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because they're looking at cutting counselors at the elementary, middle school level. They're looking at cutting the intervention specialists, which help kids with learning how to read and write that have like ADHD, dyslexia, and catching them with screening. So like it's a very intense list. There's things on there that make sense and things on there that I feel like a lot of people would be very upset about if they realized it was on there. And so that's why I just want to make sure that people are aware so that they can contact us because we're beholden to you.
Can we get a list of those cuts they're proposing?
If
So
you
we
go
can share it?
to, let me actually, if I go to I'll put it into the chat because if you go to the district website, and scroll down, you can actually see our site needs to be designed a lot easier, honestly, because it is definitely not an easy site to navigate, but I'm almost there now. So let me share my screen with you. If you are okay with me sharing my screen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me make you co-host. Hold on. There you go.
Then I'm going to post the link to it now where you can actually see the list of suggested cuts. Here we go. It's
Go on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's a long and very disappointing list. So here, if you go here and click on the link, it should take you to yes, it'll take you to the report. And if you go down to page, what lovely page is this on? If you
We're
go down
not
to
seeing the
page,
shared screen, Charlie.
okay.
We're not seeing the shared screen.
Here we go. Now I can do it. If you go down to page 26, this is what you will see. This is a list of every item that is up for this is a list of every item that's up for cuts. And as you scroll through it, you'll start to see things, for example, like down here, like one of the secretaries from every single site, reducing part of our nursing staff position, getting rid of the multiple custodians from sites, our a network administrator, like I said, the integration specialist who works on helping with students being able to catching students with ADHD, dyslexia, other issues. We're also getting rid of like here it says potentially the elementary music program. Avid's on there. Middle school and elementary counselors will be cut on this list. The wellness support specialist as well, a 0.2 for that. And so yeah, as you just like scroll through, you'll see middle school, high school ELD sections because they want to max out the class sizes, have less of them, which while it would save us money, would also mean that you're putting a bunch of kids trying to learn English into larger class sizes.
Have you written to the newspapers and put it out publicly and telling our congressmen and the people in charge, you know, in your district, what's going on?
As a board member, I'm trying to be very careful because that might.
Okay.
Notice I'm being very careful about not saying what way I'm voting on anything. I'm just bringing awareness to things. I have not said or clarified in any way that I will be supporting or opposing any of these cuts. I'm saying I will fight for things or against things, but that is it.
But maybe make it public so everybody knows, like the newspaper, you can have somebody else send it in or something like that.
I think the best thing that we could do is share this with our people that we know in these districts that can actually put pressure. And you know, I mean, for me, I'm going to contact my friends in Pleasanton that are professional musicians that grew up, you know, learning music from when they're in kindergarten and are now pro musician. I think that's a terrible thing. I think it's really short-sighted in the importance of music and other kinds of social, I don't know, drama, music and drama. I mean, come on.
Charlie, I'm Joan Seppala, 925-872-9533. I'm with the Independent newspaper. Could you give me a call? Could you give me a call?
That's who I didn't want to mention your name, but that's why I said tell it to the newspaper.
Can you send a private, because yeah, I cannot speak on behalf of the board, but can you send me a private message of your phone number?
Okay, well, what is yours?
Jen, do you want to say that again, and I'll send it to him here in a text. Here, if you go down to you can go to the chat and pull a direct text to Charlie. You want to repeat that number?
I'm 925-872-9533. That's my private number, not a newspaper number. But
thank you. Oh, thank you, Joan.
Well, we go to press tomorrow and the story has already been written. So I need to have your access to you right away.
Okay.
Like tonight.
Yeah.
Wow. Ask and you shall receive.
Well, we have the story going out, but it doesn't highlight the serious areas that you've mentioned. And so you don't have to be quoted, but we'll if you give me a call right away, we'll talk about that.
I will after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Any other comments or questions about that? Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'm going to start to go to work on that myself.
Yeah.
Other new business, anyone?
Oh, sorry, Jackie. I just raised my hand quickly. It's Tara.
Sure.
Before we move on from this topic, I would just encourage the Livermore people to dial in to this topic as well, because we're close to the Pleasanton amount. We have to reduce by between 5 and 6 million. And the lists have been coming out through the board workshops, so a little less visibility on them than if they were part of the actual board meetings. It's been so Pleasanton had a very robust group that put together with a very robust deck that explained it. So I thought that was awesome for the Pleasanton side. Livermore, it's been more of like an Excel spreadsheet list of things that's been discussed in the workshops, but they're making very tough choices between things like special ed, English language development, the things that are a little more unique to our Livermore school district. So I think with the immigration issues that will be coming up in the next 3 to 9 months with the new administration, et cetera, right? We have a very vulnerable population in the Livermore School District that needs to have more given to it, not things taken away from it. So we're being very, we're closely watching that on the Livermore budget side.
Do we have a list of, you said it's not as well documented. Is there a document anywhere?
There is. Yep, I'll send it over.
Thank you.
It's on the school board page for Livermore from the special the workshop that happened last Thursday.
Okay.
I'll find the link while we're talking here.
That would be great. And if you could post that, and then you might get a call from Joan as well. Who knows?
I only have my picture showing, but what is the alternative? What is forcing this? What if they don't cut this? What if they go in debt? I mean, what's the alternative?
If we go into debt, the county takes over the school district, and then they hack and slash by whatever means necessary to not to be like mean or rude. It's just their job is to get the district solvent again. That's their fiduciary response. So it's not so much about what programs are important or not. It's what would they be able to cut to get us into an affordable position.
Okay. So something has to go.
Yeah, and so now the argument is by how much or by how little.
Yeah, the issue is the COVID funding is expiring at the federal and the state level. Programs were put into place without ongoing funding identified for it, right? So the school districts have created deficits on an annual basis, eating into their fund reserves. So they weren't in a deficit overall where they were creating debt, but they were creating lower and lower fund reserves. The county has a 3% requirement for fund reserves, and Livermore is not going to meet that requirement, I think, in 2 years' time. And I think you guys, Charlie, are what, next year you go below 3% or something?
Yeah.
For your out budgets. And then also the funding calculation is based on average daily attendance. That's been going down since COVID. And enrollment in general in both Livermore and Pleasanton is down. Right, Charlie, you guys are down too. I think Dublin is down as well.
Yeah, Dublin's the least of all of us, but yeah, everyone's dropped.
Yeah, and it's been less children going into TK because frankly, who wanted to have children during the pandemic, and transitioning to homeschooling and private school has also impacted all the school districts.
Charlie, I just checked, and it's our stories for this week are on the Dublin School District and the Livermore School District. So we have a little bit more, we'll touch base maybe tonight just quickly, but we'll have more time to put together something for Pleasanton, because that won't come out till next week.
All right, perfect. And our final vote on this is the following week. I think the second 2 Thursdays from now. It's not this Thursday, but next Thursday.
Well, it would be good to get information out before the vote.
Beautiful. Okay. Any other comments around the school? Thank you, Tara. Other business. Hearing none, I'd like to close this meeting just a few minutes early if there's no other new business. A reminder, if you want to run for office, be an officer of this club, send an email to the TV media. Don't forget, you have to be a member. So don't forget to pay your dues, renew your dues for 2025. We've kept them the same, by the way, for years. So I would also like to close in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. I posted on on Facebook on Alameda County Dems that I have a dream speech. So if you don't want to watch, when you hang up this call tonight, don't turn on the TV, go listen to MLK, listen to a good speech, listen to something that we can have hope for. And I'd also like to close in honor of Jimmy Carter, who may not have been a great president, but was the best ex-president we ever had and a decent man. And my flag, as is Livermore's, is still at half staff, as well as Ravenswood. After somebody tried to raise the flag to full staff today, we took care of that and put it right back at half staff. So we'll be watching that for the next couple days. And with that, I want to thank everybody for coming and joining tonight. We will keep moving forward every day. We were not going to give up this fight. And, you know, we took a step back today, but we're going to take another step forward tomorrow. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you. And don't forget to register to vote. Thanks.